We're back. In the bunker. And look at all these people. Just waiting. For me, basically. It's like a Renaissance painting. Okay, that's a little pretentious. Last time we literally, in terms of like story progression, literally fuck all happened. It was literally, we talked to a few people about some inconsequential stuff, which is what you do in a tornado bunker, because, I mean, what else are you going to do? It's not like there's going to be any progression of the story. But I intentionally ended that episode early because now we're sitting at the table, or the mercy seat. We could talk to them, but we've basically exhausted, well, not him because we pissed him off, but we've exhausted all their dialogue. So now all that's left to do is join the table. I'm kind of excited for this one because this is probably my favourite part of the game, which maybe afterwards just might be like, what the hell is he talking about? How is that his favourite part? But I don't know. I spent a lot of time on this section of the game, and I'm quite proud of it, even if it's not perhaps for everyone's taste. Title of the conversation, Styrofoam by Fugazi. And if you've heard that song, perhaps alluding, I mean every song is alluding in some way, but this one especially is alluding to what's about to happen. Oh look, an empty chair at the end of the table. Are you sure you want to sit in it? All those people are looking at you. Yeah, all these faceless demon entities. Great things, maybe horrible things. The most likely outcome is that you're going to be trapped there for a long, long time. Like 40 minutes long. Consider that before you look in. Yeah, this is gonna be a long one. I'm locking in. 40 minutes, so I wanted to be like, because this is such a long conversation, I was just like, I don't know how to, like, I don't want someone accidentally starting this conversation and then realizing, shit, halfway through that, like, they either don't have enough time or they're just not prepared to keep going because it's so long. So I'm like, shit, I'll just tell them how long it is at the start. Because you can't save in the middle of a conversation, which is the issue. Which, maybe I could have implemented that, but it was kind of difficult just with how the text and stuff works. So I didn't bother, and I said, it's going to be 40 minutes. Are you actually ready to do this? Which does the job, because, you know, you can't say I didn't warn you, basically. Yeah, I'm locking in. Yeah, me 6 months ago and me today had the exact same words. Don't say you weren't warned. Also, don't think about Susie. This is important. How the fuck do I do that? Alcohol. Get some. Pull a chair and take a seat. Nobody says a word. They all just stare at you. Do they know something you don't? We go normal, overly happy, or just quit staring. I'll just say be normal. Evening, people. Man at the end of the table speaks first. Ron. We haven't met Ron, but as was established last episode, he is this dude. Ron is the father of him, Logan, who we talked to like ages ago, but at this point, but we looked at his fish tank basically, and he told us he was writing a book about his time in the military, but he also seemed very depressed. Has life got us down? Shit, he's onto you. Yeah, life's got me in a chokehold, mate. Down and out. Life doesn't want nothing to do with me. Evidently, you look like someone who just seen their dog get run over. And now we have Tammy. And obviously Tammy is Ron's wife. Just so everyone's clear. His wife... Oh, the game... I'm jumping the gun here. His wife clearly doesn't approve. She turns to you and apologises with a wave of her hand, as if to say, don't listen to him. He does. Don't be getting pissy just because I'm pointing out the obvious. Tammy sighs and rolls her eyes. She's already given up on trying to rein him in. So yeah, we already know what type of dude this guy's gonna be. A fuckhead. That's alright. You've got damn good company here tonight, whatever your name is. We know how to have a good time. You'll be as happy as Larry in no time. Yeah, please call me Des. I'll call you Ron and you call me Des. How's that sound? Des, great. His positivity rubs you the wrong way. It's artificial and born out of arrogance. You hold off on making any more assumptions for the time being. You think it'll be a big one tonight? Those clouds, they look pretty ominous. That was the same story last month. Nothing eventuated. The weather boys just like to be careful. Too careful if you ask me. It's bad for the economy. God. Yeah, that's probably it. How are you feeling about this, Des? Seeing as you're from out of town and all. You don't get tornadoes in your neck of the woods, I'm guessing? Nope. Not in New Mexico, no. Have we established... Des is from New Mexico. He's from Santa Fe. So not the Breaking Bad part of New Mexico, the northern part of New Mexico where there is no meth taking place. But yeah, you can find out that he's from New Mexico and a bunch of other places. Kind of like how you figure out if he has an ex-wife or not, just depending on which path you take. But obviously, him living in New Mexico is not that important. It's just another character thing that you have to find out eventually, but it doesn't really matter when. New Mexico, howdy neighbour. What the hell are you doing all the way out here? You get lost. I hope everyone knows their geography and knows that New Mexico is to the left of Texas. And so you can kind of plot Dez's course across the map. So he was driving east into Texas. And he would have gone past Lubbock, which we've mentioned, but his car broke down somewhere outside of Lubbock, and I'm always very vague about that because I don't want to... The idea is that the game is set in northern Texas somewhere, but nowhere specific, because I don't want to deal with the stuff that like the baggage that comes with dealing with a real place. So it's just in a vague area, kind of like Springfield is in The Simpsons. New Mexico, be a smartass? Yeah. No, I came here on purpose. To Aurora. On purpose. Oh, we got a joker. Don't be so damn prickly. I want to get to know you. He's being sincere. You should lie to him anyway. That would be funny. Do we want to tell him why we're here? It's kind of pathetic, isn't it? Let's lie. We haven't done enough lying in this playthrough. I'm a photographer. I'm traveling around Texas taking photos of people. Holy shit, Trial of the Wretched reference. That was my last game, by the way. And in my last game, you play as a photographer going around taking photos of people. I mean, that was your intention, but you don't actually get that far. Multiple people on this table know you're lying. You better hope they keep their mouths shut. Where's your camera? There's plenty of people in here you could be photographing. And just so we're clear, this Ron is like, he has a very strong accent, like, you know, the southern accent. So while I'm not doing it, you'll just have to imagine the accent. And I kind of try and convey it in the way he talks with lots of shortened words. Shit, where is that camera? We dropped it in the water tank. It fell in a water tank earlier today. I didn't have time to fish it out. Logan gives you a funny look. He's probably wondering if he actually did drop a camera in his fish tank. Yeah, we were looking at Logan's fish earlier, so he probably knows we're lying. Well, that was stupid of you. Your whole livelihood down the drain. Shame. You dedicate a moment of silence to your camera before immediately throwing out another question. You said you took photos of people, nothing else. We're developing our character, yes. I'm a portrait photographer. I take photos of everyday people in rural America. Farmers, truckers, rednecks, you name it. It's a ball throwing in redneck there. Yeah, I'm on the tail end of a month-long trip around northern Texas. Be hard pressed to find a more beautiful place. The people, not so much. Though I gotta say, Aurora has proven to be the outlier. You wink at no one in particular. Sally and Lucia laugh. Weird one, ain't ya? You're caught off guard by the comment. It knocks your train of thought into a different zip code. Did you know Bob Dylan was 22 when he made The Times They Are A-Changin'? Bullshit. He was. And on an unrelated note, you are 33 years old. That's so fucked up. I don't know if anyone, I mean, obviously people listen to Bob Dylan, but like, with the context that he was like in his early 20s when he made like that original run of albums from like his debut up until Blonde, that's just insane. Like, he was that young and he was writing shit that like timeless basically. And then you get to like the you are 33 years old, it's like, what the fuck? All these people are so... I'm not 33 years old. I was 22 when I wrote this line, and it was like a holy shit moment. Which, obviously, it's stupid to compare yourself to Bob Dylan, of all people, but, you know, you just can't help it. And it hurts. And it's like, why am I not writing The Times They Are A-Changin'? Why am I not writing fucking all those classics? And the answer is because we didn't live in the bloody Greenwich Village folk scene. And, like, you know, context matters. And even if your brain likes to ignore that context, there is just an infinite number of reasons we are not all Bob Dylan, as much as we'd like to be. And also, who cares how old you are? I don't think Bob Dylan's selling point was that he was 22, 23, 24 when he wrote those albums. I think it was that the albums were good. And so, that's your life lesson. Don't compare yourself to Bob Dylan, because you're going to end up sad and confused and feeling inadequate when you really shouldn't be. And just like that, your train of thought plummets back to the room you're currently sitting in, although you can't seem to remember what was being talked about. Luckily for you, Lucia comes to the rescue. Weird is good. We could use a little character at this table for once. Thank you, Lucia. I agree with Lucia. Weird is good. You're not weird enough for us, Ron. Tammy, what do you think? Tammy doesn't think anything. She just waves the question off. Logan. Logan finishes the beer in his hand and crushes it on the side of the table. Sure, I like weird people. This was written before that whole, like, thing where it was becoming, like, cool to call Republicans weird. Or just, like, conservatives in general. So when I say weird here, I don't mean the Republican weird of, like, you know, controlling women's bodies and shit. I mean weird in, like, a not normal kind of kooky way. Weird, affectionate. Hey, yeah, like he says, I didn't say it was a bad thing. I was just making an observation about Des. He's weird. He seems adamant to point it out for some reason. You don't really care. You know you're weird. Fuck it. Logan, throw us a beer, will you? Thanks. Logan reaches down beside his chair and yanks a can from the plastic wrap, then throws it across the table to Ron. Part of you wants to ask for one as well. Do we want a beer? I didn't write Des to be like a beer drinker. Like, he's not abstaining from alcohol, but he's not really a person who drinks to pass the time. But also his brain is like telling him to drink. It's a coping mechanism. You got to do it. Everyone else does. Yeah, fuck it. Let's start drinking. Can I get in on that? Logan looks surprised. Didn't pick you for a beer drinker. Here. He hands you the can. You rotate it in your hands to get a better idea of what you're about to ingest. There isn't any label. It's just a plain aluminium can. What is this? Where's the label? This is beer, right? Yeah, buddy from the farm I work at gave it to me. He's into brewing. Don't let it scare you. It's bang average alcohol. Just tastes better since I paid a quarter of the price you'd usually pay. You open the beer and take an apprehensive sip. Bang average indeed. See? Might take a couple years off your lifespan, but other than that... He shrugs sarcastically. Sugar, at the other end of the table, holds his drink up to the light. I don't even know why I asked for one of these. I'm designated driver tonight. Suddenly Josiah appears behind him. Josiah... He's hiding. He's hiding behind the UI. But just imagine, I couldn't be bothered. No, I'm not going to say I couldn't be bothered. I'm going to say I didn't have the time to make it so that he got up and stood behind Sugar. Because, you know, the way the game works and like changing camera angles. It's just a pain, so I just don't bother. I've got other more important things to worry about. Like spell checking. Can I have it? But we're really getting a lot of portraits. And I'm actually proud of like how this portrait system works of like, I mean, it's really simple, obviously. You know, just person appears, their name, their portrait appears. But like how it gets bigger and it all just like really, it's really seamless in how it works. And the reason I'm proud of it, beside it just looking nice, is that it literally took me a day and it was just so... There was no bugs, it just worked from the get-go. Which blew my mind, because usually shit like this where it's like, you're dealing with like... lots of images and UI and scaling and stuff. It can be kind of annoying, but I figured it out, did it, and it worked. And I was so happy. For example, like this scroll wheel took forever to get going just because of like, oh, what happens if, I don't know, you're up here and then you press space and so it goes to the bottom, but that took a while to like get working and make it look nice. And you've got like, what if the text isn't long enough for the scroll wheel to have any purpose? Where is the scroll wheel? And obviously it's hidden, but you know, that's stuff like that, and like determining when to make the scroll wheel appear versus when not to. And also sometimes the text can go to scroll wheel lengths, but then go out of scroll wheel lengths. And so you've got this weird, like, no man's land of shit. I'm getting real technical here, but suffice to say, this scroll wheel took a lot of time compared to these portraits, which took barely any time. Well, not the portraits themselves, they took a while, but, you know, making them into this big long list of them. Anyways, back to the reading. Sally says absolutely not in regards to the beer. Oh, come on, Sal, just one. It's a special occasion, he deserves it. Sally sighs and looks the other way. That means fine. Sally claps his hands and grabs the can from Sugar, then returns to his dark corner and consumes it in silence. Jesse, you want to have a beer as well? Forgot about Jesse. Jesse, who was still sitting in front of that cardboard cutout of Jesus, does not take kindly to the suggestion. Fuck off. So true. You can't help but laugh at the reply. Nobody else at the table seems particularly amused. Sugar looks especially disappointed. Little Miss Sunshine over there. You sure she's your daughter, Sugar? She's Sally's daughter, that's for sure. Feisty and short-tempered. Oh, careful, Sugar. Sally's giving you that look. Look? What look is that, Ron? There's the attitude I love. I don't know how you're so upbeat all the time, Sugar, being married to a woman like that. I like her. Ugh. I don't need to explain why I hate people like Ron, and just... It's like... I can't bother, I'm just going to keep reading. Ron bursts into laughter. Sugar joins in, but he's clearly not as enthused. The rest of the table are silent. She looks your way and rolls her eyes. Clearly this line of conversation has been trod many times before. Tammy, what about you? Where's your attitude? Why aren't you feisty like Sally? I can be feisty. You're inclined to believe her. Yep, you just don't show it. Silent killer. You know I gotta check my dinner every night to make sure she ain't poisoned it. He bursts into laughter again. The pinnacle of comedy in this bunker seems to revolve around his fear of women. You're already tired of it. Yeah. Did we call him out? Let's just change the subject. There's no point in conflict. Not yet. So, Sally, did you drive all that truck? Did you drive the truck all the way from... Where was it you were moving to again? Amarillo. Very uneventful a trip. I think I zoned out for the majority of it. Surprised I made it here in one piece. Those highways put you to sleep, honestly. Interstate hypnosis. Those words sound cool in that order. You should save them for later. That was going to be the original title of this game. Or at least it was up for consideration. I was leaning towards interstate hypnosis. But also, in the end, I kind of avoided it because it's just not... doesn't do a good job of sort of selling what the game is. I mean, neither does Rodeo Clown, but that's more... I think Rodeo Clown, even though it doesn't tell you what the game is, it's a little bit more interesting. But there's not really any interstates in the game, so interstate hypnosis doesn't really work. Sounds cool though, hence why this line is in the game. How much more stuff do you need to move? Still close to empty now. Sure, you're on top of that. Let's say one more trip after this one today, hopefully. I still need to come back later and hand the keys over to the new owners, so don't be saying goodbye just yet. To hell with the new owners. I don't want nothing to do with them. Ron, you haven't even met them yet. Don't worry, you probably never will. Guy's name was Leopold, would you believe it? He said he wasn't planning on moving anything into the shop for a while. He just bought it as an investment or something of that nature. I didn't bother asking more than that. I was just glad to get it off my hands. Investment. What a crock of shit. You have to agree with Ron on that one. Still, you remain silent. Yeah, we're not going to say we agree with Ron. Just another opportunist looking to exploit real estate. I hope he goes bankrupt. They're all scum, the lot. Comrade Ron. There needs to be some law about outsiders buying up land in small towns like this. We don't need him here. It should go to someone that's actually born in the state. Yep, never mind, just xenophobic. Well, he sounded Texan, so your law probably wouldn't make much of a difference. Alright, my point still stands, just what I think. Fucking idiot, that's what you think? You got that deck of cards, Sugar, we may as well use them. Oh right, almost forgot about the suckers, how could I? Pulls out a deck of cards from his back pocket and lays them on the table. Here's a writing thing that I hate, or like I hate dealing with. Not like, I don't really notice in other people's writing, but I notice it all the time in my own writing, is like repeating words too close to each other. So he like lays them on the table and then the table again. I just hate that, and I constantly do it, and I'm constantly like rereading my words and noticing it and having to change it, which I think most writers probably understand because it just doesn't read well. But in a game like this, because it's like half written from second person, like there's a lot of like you do this, you do that, you're constantly saying you, which is another thing I hate, because when you're constantly saying you, it just gets really repetitive and like uninspired when every paragraph starts with you think this, you do that, you say that. And it's really hard to get out of that. Like, you got to come up with really creative ways of describing how someone does something or says something from the second person. And for my next game, Spiderlands, which is even more aggressively second person because there's way less dialogue and way more narration, I'm constantly dealing with having to like basically fight the second person and be like, why the hell did I choose to write this in the second person? I could have just done it first person and made my life so much easier. But there are also benefits to writing from the second person, the third person, first person. It's all just a matter of what works with the context. And usually for games like this where you're making your choices, it's a lot easier to write from second person just because, you know, like you make a choice and then you do that choice. And it makes less sense if you're doing it from first person. We are the second person, if that makes sense. We're living through the eyes of Des. That doesn't make sense. Whatever, forget I said it. Pulls a deck of cards from his back pocket and lays them on the table. The table. Breathes a sigh. Collective sigh of relief. Finally, a distraction. We're going to play Balatro. What are we playing? Like I said, Balatro. Bullshit. Bullshit. I fucking hate bullshit. How do you play that, and what kind of name is bullshit? Now, bullshit isn't actually that bad. I'm overstating my hatred for it. I think because I've been like trapped on a bus for like multiple weeks with people, and all they did was play bullshit, and they were so loud while they played it, and they always like were screaming bullshit at the top of their lungs, because the aim of the game is like basically just place cards in order. So like you go 9, 8, 10, 9, 8, 10, 8, 9, 10. But people don't see the cards you place, and so the goal is to eventually get rid of all your cards. And so you can kind of like fake it and put a card that isn't actually the next in the sequential order. But because people don't see it, they don't actually know, and that's like how you win. Is by getting rid of all your cards. But if people think you're lying, they say bullshit, and then the person, if they get caught out, has to pick up all the cards. And so everyone is screaming bullshit all the time. And when you're trapped in a bus with 10 people all playing, and they're yelling, and it's like, so that's where my hatred of bullshit comes from. But the game itself is alright if you play it and not watch it. Bullshit, you've never played bullshit. We did the last time we were down here. Oh, can't have been very fun then. What about poker? I enjoy poker. Shit, you can't play poker. Actually, no, let's play whiskey poker. That's more fun. Yeah. I can't play whiskey poker. I can play whiskey poker, but Des can't. It's easy, Des. You just have to know some poker hands. Royal flush, 2 pair, that sort of thing. Yeah, I know literally nothing. Let's just not be a pro. I don't know those. I know the names, but not the actual combinations you need. Well, I do, because Balatro. I'm going to say Balatro like 50 times in this episode, because it's literally like digital crack. I've been playing it all the time. Alright, Jesse, you know poker hands, right? Yes, mother. Great, you can sit behind Des and help him play. No thanks, he can figure it out by himself. Jesse would rather not partake in the adult activities. You're probably sick of everyone in here already. You know what? I'll help him. Just for the first round, I'll take a peek at your cards and give you a hint. Oh my god, thank you, Lucia. Where's the competitive integrity? Sweet Jesus. You ignore Ron and give a thank you smile to Lucia. Alright, I'll explain the rules. I don't know if I want to read all this. She explains the rules. I can't be bothered reading all this. Sure, I'm following. Okay, but we read this. We play for money. Put 3 quarters on the table, and the person with the worst hand at the end of each round has to put 1 quarter in the center. At the end, once nobody has any coins left, except 1, well, they win. All those coins become theirs. Yep, playing for money. Shit, you spent all your coins on that payphone so you could call Susie. Was it worth it? It was worth it. That's right, you might have failed spectacularly. Spectacularly? That's an awful word. Lally. Spectacularly. But at least you gave it all you had. $1. Look at the man's face. You know he ain't carrying a single coin in those pockets. About now you wish you could reach over the table and smash Ron's teeth in. Well, there's a bit of an escalation there. You're from the city. Let me guess, you don't use cash. You're one of those cashless people. All that cashless living ain't serving you well now, is it? There's nothing some people love more than just never shutting the fuck up about cash. And cash is king. And oh, where are you going to go when the internet stops working? Sorry, you can tell I've really channeled a lot of my hatred into this game. It's a very hateful game in a lot of ways. God, is he really that one-note, just incessant prick? You look into his eyes and search for humour below the grizzled, predictable, repulsive surface. You find nothing but an oaf. He's grinning like he's on top of the world. Your hatred for him reaches new heights. Still, you don't say a word. You're an outsider who thinks he's better than you. That's all this is. Don't try to psychoanalyze him. Don't entertain him either. Getting under your skin is exactly what he wants. Yeah, can we call him a cunt? Perhaps on your way out the door. That way, you can make a run for it if things turn sour. They tend to turn sour when you call someone that, yeah. Maybe not in Australia where cunt is just a whatever word, but I feel like in America if you called someone a cunt it would end badly. Make a mental note. Something to anticipate. I can follow you, Des, yeah. Oh my god, thank you, Luke. See, everyone in this game is so nice. And even though it's such like a perhaps like oppressively negative game in a lot of ways, like all the characters you're speaking to are like really nice, except for this dude, but like Lucia, Sally, Sugar, Logan, they're all like nice people. And they're all good people, and they're not like I've intentionally written them in a way that they don't like, but they might have negative qualities, but you never find out about that, so you just have like the experience of someone who's, you know, when you meet someone new and you don't know nothing about them, they're all the best people in the world. Thanks. Usually really didn't have to, Logan, but thanks really. My good deed for the week. You place the 3 coins in front of you, everyone else on the table does the same. Oh, it's a priest. Don't start yet, I'm playing. The Reverend appears behind Ron and pulls up a chair. You look over to the light he was trying to fix. It's still flickering. Yep. Flicker. Flicker. There we go. How many of us are there? She counts the crowd under her breath. Hey, lovely. Winner gets $5.25. Good luck, everyone. Look at this dude. You can just tell he's an absolute pissant. You're beginning to get a little anxious. The tension builds as Sally deals the cards. I see anyone peeking at cards, they're getting thrown outside. Death by tornado. If you had to choose a way to go, that'd be it. Saves you taking the stairs to heaven. I don't know if that's a good line or not. I was grinning while I wrote it, but like... it's so stupid. It's funny though, it's stupid. After a short while, the cards have been dealt. You grab your hand and flip it over. Look at this camera angle. I really like this camera angle because it's stylized, but it's like lots of information to glean. And also, you don't have to look at the characters' faces. You just see them from above, and it looks a bit nicer that way. You spend a good amount of time studying your cards. You have no idea what you're looking at. None of the numbers or suits seem to go together. It's just a shit pile. Stop and think about it. Use some deduction. You want patterns. That's how poker hands will probably work. You look harder at your cards. Connections begin to occur. Logical deduction whirs into action. Yep, they're shit. Right, what do we got? 3 ace, 6 jack, 7. Yeah, they are shit. But this is whiskey poker, so you can't fold. You ought to play something. Sugar, you're starting. Sugar rubs his chin. I'm switching. We even got animations. Takes a hand from the middle and exchanges it with this. This is such a weird detour for the game, because up until this point it's just been walking, talking, and now we're playing whiskey poker and there is actual like UI, or not UI, but like, you know, there's a thing, and like there's interactions, and there's cards. It's just really so different from everything else in the game, which is good, because at this point you're probably getting a little tired of the usual gameplay loop, so something like different like this is very intentional. Breaks it up, even if you're still technically just reading and picking options. My turn. Before I go, I'll tell you all a joke. He places all his cards on the table and rubs his hands together. Sally lets out a deep, disappointed breath. This is gonna be shit. I wanted to get a tattoo in a really bad place. You already know the punchline. It's gonna be some city people don't like. As for what city? Your guess is Chicago. So I went to San Francisco. Fuck, should have just known you'd say that. Yeah, San Francisco is like, well, at least from my experience on the World Wide Web, that seems to be like the one that draws the most conservative ire. Everyone knows you just ripped that off Facebook. We're playing a card game and it's your turn. Yeah. Alright, I pass and Knocks the table with his fist. Yeah, if you knock the table with your fist, that means you... I'm not going to explain the rules. If you haven't played whiskey poker, just come along for the ride and fill the shoes of Des, because Des doesn't know how whiskey poker works either. So it's a role-playing game. Reverend's turn, he passes. Now Tammy, she swaps her hand with the center. God, no one wants to flip the thing. I'm passing. You're in the spotlight now, show 'em what you got. Just as you're about to make a decision, Lucia slides her chair over and peeks at your cards. You completely forgot about her helping you. You watch her facial expressions carefully. They do not inspire confidence. After a few moments of deliberation, Lucia whispers in your ear. Swap your hand with the center, that's your only option. There you go, this is easy. I like, even though she tells you what to do, you still have the option to just completely ignore it. But she is right. There is nothing here. You could play like the high card Jack, but the chances of you not losing with just the high card is probably going to end badly. So let's take the center hand. And that's still shit. Somebody flip it, seriously. Yeah, whiskey poker doesn't really work if nobody flips the center. Takes you a few more seconds to figure out what's going on in your hand. You have an inkling you're close to something. Thank you, Lucia. So they finally flip the center hand over. Nice cards, Des. Take your pick, Sally. Much appreciated. Sally switches the 7 of clubs for a 9 of hearts. Probably should have made the animation slower, because you read this and then you look over there, but you don't see the animation for the card changing. So it's kind of hard to remember what's happened, but it's not a big deal. Guess I'm the last person. I'll pass. And now the round's over because Ron knocked, and when you knock, it means the round is over when it gets back to him. And now everyone has to show their cards. Every person on the table flips their cards over and lays them out. You do the same. There's a period of silence while everyone surveys the scene and determines the loser. Yeah, I was hoping that at this point you would see everyone's cards, but it became just too difficult because at that point I would basically have to write an entire system of keeping track of everyone's cards just for this small part of the game, and it was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not making a whiskey poker simulator in this game about reading. So I've sort of faked it, so none of these cards technically exist. It's just these ones and these ones, and so I just carefully made it so that as long as these two made sense, so the one in the center and your hand, it would work. So that means like no duplicate cards and no, you know, like too many of one number basically. And that was how I did it. But yeah, at the beginning I was planning, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to write a whiskey poker buddy, a whole system for it. Everyone's going to have cards, and I'll do like a simulation game on like a separate thing so that I can work out how it's going to play out. But at the same time, I'm trying to write a story here. And I can't write a story if the game is not determined from the beginning. So in the end, yeah, I settled for a completely artificial, like chosen by me. There's still, obviously there's lots of like variations on it, but it's still all chosen by me because I need a story to exist. And I can't tell a story if it's random. And yeah, our cards are still shit because we don't even have a pair. It's just the king. So that everyone looks towards you. This can only mean one thing. Looks like having the chair on your side did you no favours. Bad luck, put a coin in the middle. Predictable start. You slide a quarter to the middle of the table and sink a little lower into your chair. The pain train powers on. That was a shit round. Shame on all of us. Hate the game, not the player. Ron's getting cocky. If he wins the whole thing, you won't be able to cope. Alright, my turn yelling now. Yeah, sugar. He hoovers up the cards and begins shuffling at a lightning pace. His technique is awe-inspiring. The table falls oddly silent while everyone watches him. Maybe you could say something funny and make your presence known. That does sound like a trap. With great pain comes great humour. Somebody said that once. Now let's just say something normal. Why is it called whiskey poker? Something to do with whiskey, if I were to hazard a guess. Maybe they played with that instead of the coins. I googled that and I didn't find an answer. Maybe I didn't Google hard enough, but I'm pretty sure it's just they played with whiskey instead. But yeah, I doubt the story is that interesting. Everyone else on the table shrugs. Logan's answer will have to suffice. Nice to see you talking, Des. You married? You look old enough to be. You suddenly forget how to breathe. Ron catches wind and latches on like a parasite. Judging from that reaction, not anymore. Tough luck, son. Some people just ain't cut out for the whole man-woman thing. You expected his response to enrage you, but all it does is make you depressed. Maybe it's the truth. You just aren't cut out for a long-term relationship. You're incompatible with your fellow human being. Ryan, don't say that. You don't know the full story. Yeah, Lucia knows the full story, because we did our role-playing thing. I got a buddy, he's going on 6 decades, and he's been married 7 times. I know he sure as shit ain't cut out for the whole man-woman thing. Kurt? No, he's been married 3 times. I'm talking about Andrew. Oh. Yeah, I've only been married once. I haven't hit those numbers yet. I'm sitting at 1 failed marriage right now. I try to force a stoic face, but it fails spectacularly. All you end up doing is sulking. Man up. Whoever she was, she can't have been that important. Don't ever be getting blue over a woman. Word to the wise, ignore all of his advice. I guess I have to make it clear that I fucking hate Ron. I've written him to be this most just like reprehensible, just deplorable, repulsive bastard ever, and everything he says, well not everything, but like, you know what I mean. He's not an aspirational figure, he sucks. And that's the author's intent, and if you interpret it otherwise, you're an idiot. Yeah, we don't do nuance here. Fuck you. Your attention, please. Everyone looks to Sugar. Deal in time. Throws the cards toward each player with absolute precision. Takes you no time. It takes no time for you to end up with a full hand. Flick them over. Turn your cards over real slow. You fear the worst. There's a quiet period while everyone analyzes and arranges their cards. What do we got? We got a pair. We got a pair. You got 2 of the same number. Yeah, that's a pair. That's better than nothing. Ron, when you're ready. Ron puts on his best poker face, then flips the center hand over. Here we go. Oh, look at that. You look at it. You see another 2. Get that 2. Then you'll have 3 2s. Then we'll have a 3 of a kind. The Reverend switches his Queen of Hearts for a 9 of Spades. The 2 is still there. So yeah, we want that 2. That is our goal here. Tammy takes that Queen of Hearts and replaces it with a 7 of Diamonds. 2 is still there. You watch Logan with bated breath. I think I'll... He takes the 2 and replaces it with a Jack of Hearts. Then knocks on the table. Oh, what a bastard. But... Now there's a 2 pair there. No, yeah, 2 pair. And we only have a single pair. But Des doesn't know that. And if we're role-playing as Des doesn't know what the hell a 2 pair is. Or he might, but he mightn't notice it. Fucking fuck, now what? You look at the center hand carefully. Your brain ceases to connect dots. You had a plan and now everything is in disarray. And this is the point where it diverges. And so, like I said, even though this isn't a whiskey poker simulator and there isn't a bajillion different like ways it could play out, I still give you an option to play it in different ways. And so here there is, I think there's 4 unique paths you can take. At least if I'm like remembering the dialogue tree. There's technically only 3 here, but I'm pretty sure there is 4 if something else happens randomly. I don't remember. We could take the center hand. Yeah, let's take the center. I know Des probably wouldn't do that, but we're going to. You snatch up the center hand and replace it with your own. That felt correct. Yes, it did. Instead of one pair, you can have two pairs. This is probably good. You wouldn't know. Shit, why'd you go and do that? You should judge your success based on the annoyance of Ron. Oh, goodness. Well, I guess I'll... Never mind, I pass. Sally's turn. She swaps the jack of clubs for the two of hearts. I'm like carefully analysing every single card to make sure I haven't made a mistake. And like there is no duplicates. Because the system I use is so like rudimentary and such a pain in the ass to use, so it's easy to forget or like mess up and not notice it. Because it's essentially just changing the texture. No, not the texture, the way it works is it's a model of every single card, and I'm just switching the mesh for each card basically. Which is probably a bad way to do it because it's hard to explain without showing you, and I don't want to show you the Uni project because it's a disaster. But suffice to say, it was just a completely convoluted mess the way I did this. Which you could say for a lot of my stuff because I can program, but I'm not a programmer basically. That's my whole philosophy of if it does the job, so be it. And my games are very simple, so doing the job is as good as I need it to do. As long as it doesn't make it run at 3 FPS or 3 frames per second, then I'm okay with it. You're starting to feel a little more confident. Success is on the horizon. Sugar swaps his 4 of spades for the 9 of clubs. Ron groans. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Ron passes, Neil does the same. Tammy, you're last, hurry up. Give me a second. She switches the 4 of spades out for a 6 of clubs. Is that it? Yeah, I knocked last turn, we're done. Moment of truth, showing people. Place the card down on the table and look at everyone else's. Sugar's look better than yours, so does Sally's. Cheer, Logan. Oh, Ron and Tammy have the same as you. 3 of us got a 2 pair. Tammy, yours is higher than mine. Des. Please. Ouch. Better luck next time, son. Put your coin in the middle, bucko. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. Put your coin in the middle, bucko. He added the bucko on the end just for extra assholery effect. Nah, why? Tell me why. I don't get it. We all had the same hand. Sally explaining. Well, they weren't the exact same. You go off who's got the higher numbers. Tammy and Rod had higher numbers than you. That is a mistake. I fucked up. Because Ace and Jack, they're not... Well, Ace is the highest number, but Jack is pretty close to the highest number as well. And I've got, you know... For them to both have higher numbers than me is very unlikely. In fact, I don't even think it's possible because there's a queen in here. Nah, nobody's going to notice it. I mean, I just pointed it out in a video, so it's on the record saying that my game is actually categorically false and wrong and all those descriptors, but no one will know. What she said. That makes sense. You probably should have considered that possibility. Yeah, this isn't fun anymore because we keep losing. Fake it till you make it. I'm 1 round away from losing. There's not enough time to make it. Hope is the enemy of defeat. It's at this point you'll realize your brain's motivational vocabulary is non-existent. All that's bouncing around in there is tacky proverbs and a fuck ton of self-loathing. Did that make sense, Des? You lose. He needs to get struck by lightning ASAP. Oh, I'm dealing everyone. Cards to me. Everyone shoves their hand in his direction. He pulls the cards before him, then haphazardly splices them together into a pile. It's ugly and entirely in character. Yeah, I never miss a chance to shit on Ron. So, while I struggle to do this, what's been happening in the world? You should bring politics to the table. Let's get this fire really crackling. Rule of thumb. When you're on a table with people you're not entirely familiar with, Do not bring politics to the table. Do not do it ever. Matter of fact, don't even do it when you're with people you know, unless like you know they all agree with you, because at least when they all agree with you, you can keep it in like a positive mood. But most of the time, it just ends with people hating one another. So don't bring anything politically related to the table. God, nobody wants to say anything? Hey, no, here we go. And have you seen the news last night? Guy got shot dead in a carjacking in Lubbock. Broad daylight, people everywhere. Yeah, I saw it. Scary. Someone filmed the whole thing. I see that stuff happening all the time now. People are getting scared to go into the cities. Don't blame them. Seeing as there's a chance you get gunned down just parking your car. You might be overacting a little. Carjacking isn't a new phenomenon. Yeah, but it's happening more often than it should. Every day on the news you hear about something, or someone getting robbed, stolen, or shot. Hell, I watched a story where a guy was getting chased around his car by someone with a hammer. That ain't the sort of stuff you used to see on television. Television, television, television. Hey, did you see that couple who got murdered? Jesus Christ. See that couple who got murdered going camping out towards Oklahoma? I read in the paper they found them in a burnt out tent. Nobody knows what happened, but police think it was a homicide. Mum, do you know about every murder in the state? Feels like you do. It's just what I read in the paper. I'm not going to say it how he pronounces it, but bet you the Indians got him. Probably camped out on some billion-year-old burial ground that nobody had a fucking clue was there. Yeah, this is taking a turn, by the way. And obviously, my understanding is this is sort of an old, very out-of-date, sort of derogative term, so don't say that. But obviously, depiction does not equal endorsement. But I'm not going to read it. Jesse leans in from behind and whispers to you. He's about to start. Block your ears, trust me. She moves back to her chair and to your surprise actually blocks her ears. Perhaps that is the smarter thing to do right now. Yeah, if you can't tell I'm getting at, fucking cable television news or just like free to air news, just awful. Awful. Because, you know, I forget what the saying is, but murder and blood and just the most like horrific shit ever just on the 6 o'clock news. And it's like, obviously a lot of ink has been spilled on this topic, but it's just, to this day, it's just mind-boggling. And people watch the news every night. They're just consuming this shit over and over. Like, this person murdered here, person buddy raped there. It's like, do we need this? Like, is this important information for us as a society to be like consuming every night? And is this good for us? And it's just awful. Do yourselves a favor and just log off, turn the television off, and don't even watch it. She moves back to her chair and to your surprise actually blocks her ears. Perhaps that is the smarter thing to do right now. Nah, we should listen. Keep your index fingers away from your ear canals. For some reason you want to continue listening to Ron Stribble. And yeah, that's what I was just getting out of. We don't like it, but we keep consuming it. I tell ya, country's fucked. Not hard to see it. Not hard to say it either. Crims walking around on the street like they run the place. Majority of the people doing these carjackings and murders are out on bail. They aren't even American either. A bunch of immigrants and ethnics ruin it for the rest of us. There it is. Yeah, it was very predictable that was where this was about to go. Ron, how often do you actually leave Aurora? Your perspective is incredibly narrow. Alright, I'm gonna cool off on like the fucking, what do you want to call it, preachiness. And like, here's my opinion, this is what this means. I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm just gonna read until the end for now. And then I'll kind of go back over it, but because I think it works better if it just go from here and to the end, and then we can have a holistic view of what just happens. Blame it on the Dems. You could have predicted voting for them would lead to disaster. I could have. Yep. Too focused on inclusion and diversity, or whatever the fuck they want to call it. Too afraid to get shit done. Meanwhile, people like us are losing jobs and barely scraping by. Ain't what I'd call fair. I didn't vote for this. It's all corrupt. I had one person say it's like the fall of the Roman Empire. We're going to split up eventually. The nation will turn to a bunch of little ones, all fight with each other. That might be what we need. Hit the reset button and start over. Whatever's going on with America right now ain't working. Yeah, they have all those guns, they could do it. So Texans off their guns because they're waiting for an armed revolution. Des, don't encourage him, seriously. She isn't joking, she desperately wants him to stop talking. Judging from Lucia's expression, she also feels that way. Sugar is just staring into space. Something's gotta give. I haven't read much history, but as far as I can tell, most big changes come from the people fighting back against the government. Ain't that what the Frenchies did? Who's to say that won't happen here? I mean, it almost happened. Yeah, revolution tends to bring some changes, although people usually disagree on what changes should be made, and thus no revolution. I don't think there's much agreeing going on across the nation right now. The left want everyone to be treated with dignity, and the right want to murder immigrants and homeless people. All that and all the fascist stuff. Ideologically opposed, no common cause, you get it. Ron drops a deck of cards he was shuffling onto the table. You've completely forgotten about the card game. Fascists? The fuck are you talking about? You never finished high school? No surprise you didn't understand it. Seems like Sally couldn't resist joining in either. Sugar, get your wife under control, she's mouthing off. Sally, just leave it. Not a chance. Ron, you can go fuck yourself, respectfully. Sugar gives up, all his positive energy has been drained. Ooh. Despite his fang of fear, he finally falls silent. That's not what we like to see. Come on, push him a little more. Yeah, let's not do that. Pussy. The rest of the table look around anxiously. You notice Lucia giving you the side eye. That's her signaling to keep your fucking mouth shut if you know what's good for you. Yeah. Jesse yells out from behind and scares the living daylights out of you. Why'd you lot go quiet? I had my ears blocked and missed most of what happened. Just a little disagreement. Sally loves those. Seems our new friend here, Des, does as well. Takes all of your strength to remain quiet. To hell with it, Logan, pass us another can. Logan reaches down and chucks a can across the table. There's a hint of disdain in his throwing action, as much disdain as one can channel through the motion of their arm. You're reminded of the beer you just asked for, currently sitting in front of you almost entirely full. You don't even know why you asked for one. Why'd you have to stop in Aurora of all days, today of all days, Des? If I knew I was going to be stuck in here arguing with a lefty snowflake, I would have stayed at home and took the risk. Fuck me. What is a snowflake? Tell me why I'm a snowflake. What qualities of mine qualify me for such a designation? You ask too many questions and you don't say a damn thing. He isn't taking your bait. He's not a complete fucking idiot. Does that answer your question? Keep arguing. If you keep him talking, you won't have to play cards. Oh, ask him what he thinks of Pride Month. That'll really get him revving. Yeah, I don't think people would like me if I did that. So what? This is fun. How often do you actually get to say exactly what you think without fear of burning bridges? Let loose, live a little. Susie's gone, so what? For the sake of civility, I think we ought to just move on and play the next round of cards. Nobody's going to change anybody's mind tonight, least of all you, Ron. Lucia's probably right. Forget about what you just thought. Civility rules. Susie is still gone, though. I agree wholeheartedly, Lucia. I want to play cards. All this bickering is giving me a headache. You think you can behave for just a little while, Ron? Ron suddenly flares up. How about you take a fucking Tylenol and shut your mouth? I don't need anyone telling me what I can or can't say. You especially. The table falls dead quiet. Tammy looks down at her lap and sinks into the chair. Well, I think I've heard enough. Sally stands up and leaves the table. Sugar, Lucia and Logan and then Tammy follow along one by one. You feel like doing the same, but for some reason you can't bring yourself to move. Ron watches you with narrowed eyes. You sticking around? You got something else you want to say to me? He's finished. You don't need to say anything more to him. Get up before you do something stupid. But I'm not finished. Your emotions get the better of you. You just can't help yourself. Your hatred for this man you hardly know has reached a boiling point. Fuck you. You're white trash. You're bottom of the barrel. You live in your tiny world, watching your news on your little television, and you think you matter. Guess what? You don't matter. You're just a racist hick with nothing to show for himself, except that stupid fucking cowboy hat and those stupid fucking cowboy boots. Get that through your thick skull. You're worthless. There's a voice in your head yelling at you to stop, but you don't care. Your wife and son despise you, that's clear to see, and so do your alleged friends. Why wouldn't they? You're a bigoted cunt, a reactionary freak. Ugh, a self-absorbed cretin. There isn't a hint of empathy bouncing around in that head. Hell, I bet you couldn't even tell me the meaning of the word. All you know is hate. You get off on the misery of others. What else you got for me? Might or will? Might. You're irredeemable. I could have given you the benefit of the doubt, try to find a reason. You're such a bastard. But it'd be a waste of time. You've made the conscious decision to be the person you are, and yet somehow you're happy about it. Fucking happy. Honestly, I don't think you've earned the right to be happy. You don't deserve to be comfortable in your skin. You deserve far, far worse. Your gaze shifts to the Reverend. He deserves your wrath as well. Fuck you, preacher man. And you, Neil, Reverend, priest person, I don't know much about you, but I know I don't like you. Cheer the fuck up, lay off the bottle, act like you give a shit about something, anything, I don't know. Find Jesus. Obviously he hasn't found you. The Reverend looks shocked. He thought he was safe. Ron Jack jumps back in with a rebuttal, but his tone is noticeably less fiery. You crossed a line. You think all your talking makes you smart. Don't be coming into our town from wherever the fuck you're from and trying to tell me who I am, how I should be living my life. You don't know a damn thing about the world I'm from. Before you can keep going, you feel a hand on your shoulder. It's Logan. Hey, call it. Something in your mind shifts and you hit with a paralyzing wave of clarity. What are you doing here? Why are you wasting your breath on this man? Why are you saying his terrible things that you know you don't mean? I don't know. You're letting your emotions get the better of you. You're becoming irrational and stupid. That ain't you. There is no me. That's crazy talk. You're acting like the old you. You're arguing and yelling. You're venting your frustrations outward and making life miserable for everyone, including yourself. Remember how you were going to convince Susie you'd changed? What do you think she'd say if she saw you right now? Yeah, she'd hate me. That's right, she'd hate you because she'd see you haven't changed one bit. And you want to know the worst part? No. You're not ever going to change. This is who you are. Des, the self-proclaimed moral paragon. The cynical, contrarian cunt. He's right, he has the answers. He hates himself, but he hates everyone else more. That's not true. Deny it all you want. It's not like it matters anymore. Susie is gone. You had your chance and you fucked it. There's only one thing left to do from here. Forget her. Eject her from your consciousness. I don't want to. Yeah, she was perfect. Why would you want to forget her? The answer to that is this. If you don't forget her, you're going to die cold, alone, and sad. Don't think about Susie. Think cold, alone, sad. Those words, in that order, on your mind at all times. That's your road out of this self-inflicted depression. You want to be happy, don't you? The answer is yes, but with a hint of apprehension. Why are you apprehensive? How could you be apprehensive about a question as simple as that? You want to be happy. Do I? The question echoes through the halls of your mind over and over and over. The answer never arrives. Do I? Nothing. You look over to Ron. He's given up on arguing and is talking in a hushed voice with the Reverend. You wonder what the fuck you did to deserve this fate. Why did you have to end up here, of all places, on today of all days? You're ashamed and embarrassed. Embarrassed of what your life has amounted to. Embarrassed to be alive, to be in the presence of people like this. People who are real and have purpose and didn't fall over at the first hurdle. You feel an overwhelming urge to run and hide, to be alone and ignored, but there's nowhere to go. This concrete tomb is crushing you from all sides. Your fingers curl up and your breathing hastens. It can always get worse, and it will. You glance down at your arms and recoil in disgust. That's you. You're not some character in a play. People can see you, judge you, hate you, hurt you, forget you. Life won't wrap up into some neat little bow. There won't be a redeeming action, a conclusion to the character arc. Nothing is ever going to make sense. Not to you, not to anyone. Time will make you numb. At some point you'll expire. There might be a funeral, but the world will move along. Nobody will know, let alone give a shit about the life you lived. There isn't anything worth remembering. How many people across the history of humanity have died? 100 billion? How many of them were like you? A little dot in the universe, desperately trying to make it worthwhile. The answer is everyone. We're all the same. We want meaning. We want to be around people who give us meaning. We want it to be worthwhile. The worms who eat our rotting corpses won't care what we were or what we fought for. Everyone tastes the same. Until this shit adds up to slow replenishment. Des? What? Oh! You jump in your seat and turn around to see Logan. He's been standing behind you this whole time. You're shaken. What's up? It's hopeless. I'm in a bad way. I don't know what the fuck is going on in my head. I can see the future and I'm scared. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. You're in one of those moods. I get it. It's one of those moods that won't go away. They're making an announcement on the radio. You turn to your right and see everyone crowded around a radio. You can't hear what's being said from this distance. It could just be your ticket out of here. Please. You jump to your feet. Those were just the words you needed to hear. Radio, be my salvation. Jesus! It's been a long time since I read that conversation, and that was fucking depressing. I don't really know what to add to that, because obviously there is a lot to unpack. I said I was going to unpack it after I did it, but I don't really know what to add besides arguing with strangers. You're always going to end up, in the end, feeling like shit. It's just awful. Not even strangers, just everyone in general. Like arguing, like yelling at a brick wall basically. It's just not worth it. That is one of the many, I don't know if I want to call it a point, because there's also the counter argument of, well, if you're not arguing, then everything's going to stay the same because nobody's speaking up about what they care about. But you know, it's just hard to like, especially in situations like this where like there's just this absolutely just awful human being and you feel like it's your moral obligation to stand up to them, and as Des did, but you know, it gets ugly and it gets bad, and then you end up like we did at the end, feeling like a little ant in the universe, and it's just ugly. And man, that took a long time, and that got really heated and yeah, I won't add any more. I don't need to like explain all my writing. It's pretty on the nose. Let's just do this one. This is the final thing I'm going to do for this episode because it's long. It's a really long one. Whiskey River, Take My Mind. And now, come on, Feel the Illinois. That's the best song off of Sufjan Stevens' Illinois, by the way. And if you don't think it's the best song off that album, you're wrong. But I chose this song because it's kind of like an uplifting, like, drag yourself out of this self-inflicted depression sort of like, I mean, that's not what the topic of the song is about, but you know, feel the Illinois. Come on, guys, let's get happy. Sitting on one of the many plastic seats in Aurora is Jesse's radio. You join the circle of people and listen to whatever it is that has everyone so quiet. Sugar leans over and gets you up to speed. Hey Des, we're waiting for them to make an announcement. Good chance this thing is wrapping up. You cross your fingers and listen in. To all residents of, a burst of interference muffles a voice. County? That's my way of never directly addressing where the hell Aurora is. Because I needed, like, the radio announcer obviously would have to say where the hell the place he's addressing is, but I just couldn't do that because I didn't want to put this in a specific place, so it's a burst of interference. You'd never guess the reference for this portrait, by the way. I'm not going to tell you because it's a bit morbid, but I mean, that makes it sound bad. It's not bad, it's just, you'll never guess. All residents are advised to continue exercising caution and to listen for any further announcements or warnings. The announcer signs off, Crazy Train starts playing. Jesse immediately grabs the radio and turns the volume all the way down. I assume nobody was listening to that. I was. Yeah, me. Turn it back up. I need to hear Crazy Train. That won't be possible, I'm afraid. Listen to it when you get home. It'll be your heartbreak shower song. Everyone looks around the room awkwardly. Despite the announcement, nobody seems sure of what to do. In the background, Josiah breaks the silence. I'm leaving. Adios, you dysfunctional fucks. That's a good name for a band. Dysfunctional fucks. He pulls himself off the ground and opens the shelter door and climbs upstairs and disappears from view. Yep, what he said. Jesse sits up, grabs a cardboard cutout of Jesus, then hauls it up the stairs and out of the basement. Oh, show's over, I suppose. Better get out of here before any of us start fighting again. She looks directly at you as she says this. I'm pretty sure she's being at least a little tongue-in-cheek, seeing she also had some choice words for Ron. Yeah, she did tell him to go fuck himself. Let's go, Sugar. Good night, everyone. Sally and Sugar walk out the door. Ron, Tammy, Logan follow suit. It's just you, Lucia, and the Reverend left. You two, time to go. I'm turning off the lights. Hey, at least he's not being an asshole to us now. Patience, Neil. I'm old. I need a second to decompress. Yeah. Gia stretches her legs and then finally leaves. You follow her outside and leave Neil alone in the basement. Oh. What a perfect place to end the episode. Yeah. This was a very emotionally potent episode, and I said I was excited for it, and then I said it was be weird that I was excited for it because that was fucking like not fun, but at least from like a writing standpoint, I don't know, I found that to be the most like interesting part of the game. I mean, there's more stuff coming up, but you know, in some morbid sort of way, I enjoy writing stuff like that. And I hope you enjoyed reading it or listening to me speak it, even if it wasn't very nice. It's something that I feel is important in writing. You gotta write shit that even if it isn't happy or funny or whatever, makes you uncomfortable. Yeah. So we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. See you whenever I see you. Probably never. Goodbye.